Hello everyone, it's Snitch Racer here. Today I am going to be doing a tier list for all the levels in Twisted Metal 1. First of all, I just want to say that this is just my opinion and that everything about this is entirely subjective. You can of course disagree with me. I am not right or wrong about this in anywhere form. I am not an all-knowing god of Twisted Metal, though that would be nice. Before we get started, I just want to shout out Vicarious Nick Gaming for making this tier list as well as making it publicly available to everyone to make their own. He strongly encourages everyone to make their own tier list, and I respect that. I will link his tier list in the description as well as his channel. Nick makes a lot of Twisted Metal content and as well as gaming content in general, and he does a really great job of it, honestly. The way I will be doing this is I will be ranking each level in order of how they appear in the game. So I will be starting with level 1 and going on from there. Let's get started. Starting out with the first level, the arena, which is the very first level in the entire series. This level is very simple and it sets you up in an arena in a 1v1 battle against just one single vehicle. This is something that they have not done since, as far as I know. It's, in my opinion, it's a great warm up for the chaos of the tournament. It feels like a true beginning to said tournament. Uh, I like how there is weapons in the containers ready for you to collect for the next level. The one negative aspect is that you kind of are forced to do that since the next level doesn't have too many weapons, but we'll get into that later. Difficulty varies wildly, I'd say, depending on who your opponent is, because if you get someone like Hammerhead or Warthog, it can be very hard sometimes to actually not lose a life immediately. The only upside, it is the first level, so you can just restart if you lose a life. Uh, One of the reasons for this is because there is nowhere to hide, which can make it a bit of a bit of a pain not getting hit by missiles. Though, if you are very used to the game, you should have no trouble with it once you get used to the game. Uh, the simplicity of this level can make it feel a little underwhelming sometimes since it is just an arena, but I do like the aesthetics of the map overall. It has posters of every single character, very unique looking posters of every single character in the series plastered all over the walls. There's a crowd that's cheering and watching your battle with the other vehicles, and I just feel like that makes it feel like a real tournament. And I just overall, it's actually a pretty decent level. It's not the best level in the world, but it does have that classic feel, which will bring it up to the B tier. If it wasn't such a classic map, it'd probably end up in the C tier. On to the second level now, the Warehouse District. Overall, this level is kind of the most forgettable level of all in the entire game. I still like the level as I don't find there is a single level that is actually bad in the game. But this one is very forgettable, unfortunately. I do like the aesthetic of the level overall. It has a very urban LA, like East LA feel to it, and the assets and the buildings just have a really cool 90s video game feel that I very much enjoy. The colors are very nice. Another downside though is that it is extremely similar to the downtown level. It feels like it really is just the same level as downtown, which we'll get into later, but doubled in size. I swear they're even using a lot of the same assets, which I guess I wouldn't be surprised about. It is an old game that didn't have a high budget. Another not so great thing about it as well is that there is not very many weapon pickups whatsoever. So you have to collect weapons in the very first level, which isn't always the easiest thing to do when people are shooting at you. If you don't happen to collect weapons in that first level, you're gonna have a very hard time on the second level. Or if you lose a life on the second level, you're gonna have you're gonna be pretty much screwed to beat the rest of the game, honestly. But I do like how it is quite a bit of a challenge overall for a second level. It's not super hard, but you can't just sit there and, you know, shoot people and just have an easy time. It is a challenge. Overall, though, it is quite forgettable, even though the map design is perfectly fine, so unfortunately, it's going to be the very first C tier level of this video. On to the third level in the game, the Freeway Free-for-All. This map is just literally a freeway that goes in a giant circle. It is very simple, and as a result, I find that not a lot of people like this map. But in my opinion, the simplicity can make it very fun. It feels super fast and chaotic, and just you never stop getting shot at. Which brings me to one of my first negatives here of this level is that there is nowhere to hide. There's no cars to hide behind. You're usually just stuck in a giant, what feels like a giant hallway with nowhere to go. It's just a giant shooting gallery. So that results in some unfortunate deaths very early in your playthroughs as you'll be getting shot constantly. It can be quite the challenge with big characters, especially because they have a hard time getting away from being shot. Unlike characters like Mr. Grimm or Crimson Fury, where if you are getting shot on this level, all you have to do is boost away and you'll be out of harm's way within like 3 seconds. The big characters, unfortunately, don't have this advantage. And for some reason, Sweet Tooth can be a real pain in the butt on this level. He constantly spams a special and you can't get away from it. Also, it can take quite a long time to find characters, other vehicles in this level, as they will be on the opposite side of the level, forcing you to drive all the way there only to just not find them, which can get very annoying. The NPCs also shoot at you constantly in this level. Those little orange guys that have guns and missiles that shoot, they just never stop, and that can be very irritating. This, in my opinion, is the first truly challenging level, so beating it is very rewarding, and I very much enjoy that. Despite the fact people are shooting at you constantly and you take a lot of damage, there is 4 healing pads and a secret heal, which makes finding health not too much of a challenge overall. And overall, this level is very enjoyable for me. It's not one of the best levels in the game, but I do have a lot of fun. That's why I'm going to end up putting it in the B tier, slightly ahead of the warehouse level, or the arena level. My apologies. On to the fourth level in the game, the River Park Rumble, also known as Downtown if you're a Twisted Metal Black fan. Now, this level looks and feels a lot like the Warehouse District, but I find it much better and more unique. It is also twice the size. I like how there is a river going through the middle with 2 bridges that you can go over. It makes it feel a lot more unique than some of the other levels in this game. It's I also find that it is quite easy to get away from gunfire in this level, as there's a lot of different streets and walls and buildings to hide behind, as well as the alleyways that the AI doesn't seem to be able to go down. You can hide in those alleyways and get away. One of the things I want to note is that it has a Christmas vibe going for it, which I didn't really notice until recently. There's snow on the trees, there's Santa Claus decorations. It is very interesting to me. Another thing I want to note is that they literally have an ice rink in the middle of the little park area in the middle of the map. I find that a little ironic because the game feels slidey and already feels like an ice rink to begin with. So, kind of a funny decision to put the ice rink in the actual level itself. So, overall, not losing a life on this level is very challenging in my opinion, but if you don't, it is very rewarding. Overall, there is only 3 charging pads, but there is the secret heal as well, though in my opinion, this isn't quite enough considering the previous level had 1 more and it's less challenging. I don't really understand why there's only 3 charging pads. But overall, it is a very great level with a very unique and memorable feel to it. I also love the song that they chose for this level. Overall, I am going to be putting this in the A tier, the first A tier level of the game. On to Suburbia, the 5th level in the game, and what is arguably the hardest level of Twisted Metal 1. You are against 8 vehicles, which can feel like quite the task to defeat as they are very spread out in this very massive level. And the other thing is, I don't know, maybe it's just this level or the game in general, but the vehicles tend to bunch up a lot. And when they're bunched up like that, it's almost impossible to not lose a life while attacking them. It is the biggest level in the game. I mentioned the size earlier, but it is by far the biggest level, it seems. And in my opinion, it is far too big. I'm not really sure why they have the outside loop around, like that highway loop around the suburbs area whatsoever. I don't really get that. That seems like something that they didn't really need to include, but I feel like they only included that to, make the level feel bigger. One nice thing, though, is there is plenty of heals. There's 4 healing pads, if I remember correctly, and a secret heal on top of that, though that secret heal can be a pain to use sometimes. Uh, the weapon pickups are a little awkward in this level. There is plenty of them. It's just they are very spread out, so collecting weapons can take a very long time. The other great thing, though, the one positive of the large size of this map is that there is a lot of places to hide or just avoid everybody, which can be very useful as there is so many people to defeat. So if you just want to avoid losing a life on this level, it's not too hard as long as you know how to hide. Overall, I do love the aesthetics of this level. I really love the idea of cars ripping through a suburban neighborhood, shooting at each other and everything. There's even people sitting out on their front lawn in lawn chairs, which I find hilarious. Overall, though, this is definitely not my favorite level in the game, and it's probably a controversial take, but I actually am not too fond of this level. I still like it. Like I said, I like every level, but unfortunately, this level, the fact that this level takes a very long time to defeat people, and the fact that it's just so gosh darn big, I'm unfortunately going to have to put this in the C tier just ahead of the warehouse district. On to the last and definitely not least level of Twisted Metal 1, the Rooftop Rumble. It is a very unique level. In fact, I'd say it is definitely the most unique level of the game overall. All the buildings that are in the background look really cool and intimidating in a way, and it just adds to a really nice aesthetic that this map has over every other map in the game. The other great thing about this level is that it has a very great use of heights, which doesn't occur in any other level in this game, in my opinion. It has all kinds of ramps that lead you to lower and upper levels of individual buildings. It even has a giant pyramid in the middle that you can blow up and drop down into, opening up a quote unquote secret room, which allows you to heal and gather more weapons. Jumping from roof to roof is also super fun and rewarding, though one note is if you have one of the big characters, a couple of the roofs, you can't even make the jump without boost. So that's a pretty big flaw in the level itself, unfortunately. The lack of weapons can also be a very big pain in the butt. I don't know what it is about this level, but it really does feel like you're constantly killing time and driving in circles just to get more weapons, especially when it comes to Minion. Now on Minion, I find this level, the final battle with Minion, I find that very fun. Minion is very scary and intimidating, and it forces you to fight him in a very unique way that you otherwise wouldn't have to with any other character in the game. Overall, though, this level is very cool, and I have a lot of fun on this level with the way it's designed. It is my favorite level in the game by a pretty large margin as it is very unique. So, as a result, it will be the first and only level being placed in the S tier, making it officially the best level of game in the game according to my tier list. And there you go. That is my official tier list of Twisted Metal 1's levels. Now, I just want to say this is the first official video I am putting on this channel as a proper recorded one that I edited and everything like that. That isn't just a playthrough. So please let me know what I can do better for next time. But overall, I just want to thank anyone who's watching. Like and subscribe. That would be very helpful for me as I'm just starting out. And remember to tune in next time when I dive into Denmark.